We've owned this Tesla Model 3 for about 3.5 years, and it is still one of the best, if not the best, EV packages that you can buy. Not necessarily the car, but as a package, it's just a doddle to own. The one thing that people who, well, before they get an EV, worry about the most, it's charging, isn't it? And the supercharger network takes it all away. It just works anywhere in Europe, pretty much. There's a new Model 3 out, the Highland, and it is a refresh, it's a facelift, but they seem to have done a decent job. They've incrementally increased a lot of little things to make a much better all-rounder, as it were. So I'm very much looking forward to that in terms of, I think it'll sell very well. It's meant to be about the same price as the current Model 3, and I think we're due to get it sometime next year, at least in the UK. So fine, they've done a good job there, have Tesla, apart from one thing. And that is these. Now, I'm sure most of you will already be well aware of this. There's been a lot of chit and indeed chat about the removal of indicator stalks. Well, all stalks, but mainly the one I want to talk about today, because I'm being inundated with messages, is the fact that they've changed the indicator stalks to put them all in the steering wheel. So this is a picture of what the new Model 3 will be like in terms of the steering arrangement, and you'll notice no stalks, and of course the indicators, well, they're here. When you're driving, you'll be using your thumb, I guess, to indicate left, indicate right, and you know what? That'll probably be okay for most things. But in the UK and in Europe, we have stuff that I think the probably American designer is more unaware of, shall we say. And I don't want to upset my American cousins, but we have things called corners and roundabouts everywhere. And that's when this is going to be an issue, because the one thing that you don't want moving in terms of controls in a car is your indicator stalks. But look, imagine I'm turning a corner. My indicators are now on this side of the steering wheel instead of this side of the steering wheel, and they're also upside down. Now, don't get me wrong. You would get used to this, and that's the single greatest thing that a lot of people have said to me who have already got this arrangement in the Model S. You get used to it. That's not really saying it's better, is it? Getting used to something is accepting a flaw, but in my book anyway. And this is completely an opinion-based thing, but I do think I have irrefutable logic coming up, which means that this is ultimately a bad idea. It's one of those things which, for most people, for most of the time, you'll be all right, again, once you get used to it. But it needs to be all people, all of the time, realistically. Certainly with such a safety-critical device. So let me indicate with my stalk. That's old school. I'm now indicating right, and I'm pulling away. It will self-cancel. So all these kind of basic manoeuvres are taken care of, that's fine. When I turn left here, again, I'll indicate. So imagine I'm pressing the button on my steering wheel. It won't be a problem, because all I have to do is initiate that, not cancel it or anything. But as I said, there are many different types of roads. There are many situations where you will be caught with the steering wheel on the opposite side, where the indicators are on the opposite side, because you're going round, I don't know, like this corner. Oh, wait a minute. Now everything's on this side of the steering wheel. I'm indicating right into that driveway. That's going to cause confusion. Confusion is a bad thing when driving. What I need to do is attach something to this part, just to show how ridiculous having a function that constantly moves is. Give me a second. So I've now put this snotty handkerchief so you can see what happens to the location of the indicators. All I'm going to do is drive around the block, as it were. So you can see this white thing dancing all over the place. That's the location of my indicators right now. This is an upgrade. This is better. This is safer. Now let me give you my irrefutable logic thing before we get to the roundabout. Tesla, over what, 10, 12, 13 years, however long they've been around, certainly in the UK anyway, I don't think they've ever had an email, a communique. I don't think anyone's ever thought, indicator stalks, it's rubbish. This is a terrible way of indicating. So essentially what I'm saying is nobody ever has complained about how we indicate. As a concept, the indicator stalk, is just simple and intuitive to use. But with the removal of these, there's a lot of complaints. So we've gone from no complaints at all, ever, in the history of the world, to lots of people complaining. Put yourself in the mind of somebody who's high up at Tesla, and it's your job to sell more cars. So they'd be looking at this going, right, so we're getting lots of people who are going, I'm put off by this. I'm not even going to look at the car. And to highlight that point, I did a little bit of a survey. There's only about 1,200 people that have replied on Twitter, and this is what they thought. Overwhelmingly, nobody thinks that this is a good idea, and the vast majority either don't care or think it's stupid. So as a marketing person, for example, I'd be thinking, right, we've created lots of, whether you agree with it or not, it's irrelevant. There's a massive perception out there in the public who are thinking, that's stupid, I don't want to own that car. It will affect sales. No doubt about it, people will not buy this car because of that reason. Whether you think that's silly or not, it doesn't matter, it will happen. And before anybody who is in the Tesla fanboys club, who always jump in my comment section, says anything, it's not safer, especially when you do the shuffle. Look, that's what you're taught to do on advanced driving courses. The shuffle. You don't do the yoke thing where you're like that. So it's not a case of you're always keeping the hands in the right place of the steering wheel. You can't, otherwise your arms are snapping too when you're going around tight corners. I don't know what Americans think of the buttons. Please do let me know in the comment section. But we have greater issues than the typical grid-based system that you're used to there. Again, corners, roundabouts are more common than straight roads, if that makes sense. So this is a simple roundabout. I drive it most days and it will highlight exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to take the third exit. So I'm not going to come back on myself. I'm going to go over there. Just watch the handkerchief of shame as it flies around. Right, so there we go. Oh, I need to now indicate because I'm coming off here, but I'd have to be up there. I'd be like this, and that's just one roundabout. It's not the best example in the world. I could go around many roundabouts and it would be round there, or it would be up here, it would be anywhere in this circumference. Here's another one. Look where it is. It's on the opposite side of where I am. There's no one around, so I can get away without indicating, because that's what you're going to have to do when you have this car, because you'd be pressing it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, damn, I pressed the wrong one. Oh, there we go. So again, I go back to the irrefutable logic of this is fine. No one's complained about it. Now you've removed it, everybody's complained about it. Well, not everybody, but you get my point. And again, to jump on the Tesla fanboy sort of thing, and you are quite bad when you want to be. You know what I'm talking about. As a Tesla owner, I like the cars, but as someone on social media for years, I know how fanatical you can be. I'm not trying to upset anybody, but ultimately, when people say to me, Elon knows what he's doing, one, you don't know the guy. Stop pretending you know, oh, Elon, my good friend, he knows what he's doing. Doesn't matter. This is a bad idea. Just look at the poll that I put up earlier on Twitter. Sorry, on X. Another great thing that Elon has done. It's stupid. I'm sorry. It is stupid. You should never have to get used to something. You should never think it's not safer. That is not safe. People don't drive like this. I won't care. But they're not even the first company to do this. Ferrari. Let's see if I can find a picture online for that. They've at least put the indicators on either side of the steering wheel. Left, right, buttons on each side. That's more intuitive than stacking them on the left side of the steering wheel. Either way, you can't have controls that move. Can you imagine the heater control dancing around the screen? It'd drive you nuts. The only thing that makes sense to me is that they're going to do like the yoke thing. Make it an option so you can remove the stalks or add them, whichever way they do it. So if you want, you can just have these things. But let's not be under any illusion. The reason this is done, or this was done by Tesla, is not because it's a race car, which is like Ferrari have done it for that reason, like an F1. They've done it just for them, because they don't have to manufacture these things anymore. They don't have to make stalks, they don't have to put the wiring in. It's made it cheaper and easier to make. That's the only reason this is here. Again, going back to selling more cars, imagine if someone came to Tesla and said, I can sell about, 5% more cars. Just by doing one thing, you'll sell a lot more cars than you would at present, than is predicted. Oh, wow, that's a huge increase. What do we have to do for that? Is it advertising? Is it a discount? No! Put these back. You will sell more. Now, I want you to light up the comment section, whether you're against this or for it or whatever. What do you genuinely think now? Does this put you off looking at a Model 3? Or anyone that drives it in your family? Would it be a tough sell? Let me know. I'm going to make a prediction now. By the end of 2024 in the UK, and probably worldwide, but within the next year and a bit, you will be able to get indicator stalks on a brand new Model 3, the new version. I think they're going to do the yoke thing where they'll give you both options, because it really doesn't make sense. It's like we're missing a piece of the puzzle. I don't know if they'll do it at launch. I think they'll wait a while, but for me this is potentially, I wonder whether you agree with this, it's just a great way of getting lots and lots of free publicity, because any publicity is good publicity. I'm doing a video about it. How many people are talking about the new Model 3 because of that? So all they have to do is go, all right, we've listened, there you go. It could be just a brilliant publicity stunt. It's new Coke, I don't know. I don't think I will be buying a Highland, if I'm honest, and whatever you call it, the refresh, if we can afford it in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because that will do my head in. So yeah, there we go. Like, subscribe, all the usual gumph. Thanks for watching, listening, and for commenting what you think. Do you agree with the stupid decision that Tesla have done? Are you so far up Elon's ass that you think anything they do is brilliant? Either way, thanks guys, see you soon.